We're in Bloor West Village. Our clients are a young family who are relocating back to Toronto, moving back from Brazil. The space was incredible to start with. It was a relatively new house, really high ceilings, beautiful light, but the finishes were not to our clients' taste and really were kind of basic for the space. So our goal was to elevate the whole design and really infuse some of their personality and really bring to life the incredible architecture of the building. The clients wanted to create a warm, modern home, and the other designers on our team, Mariana Kawamura and Kamisi Paletto, and I really focused on bringing in natural organic materials and warm, neutral tones to still create a contemporary space, but also make it feel inviting to a young family. The back of the main floor is a step down. It's actually 3 steps down, which creates this incredible 11-foot ceiling height. It's pretty spectacular, and the original house, when we saw it for the first time, we thought this is like beautiful space and beautiful light, but it really wasn't being maximized. The millwork in the kitchen was all white, and it only went up to 8 feet high, I think. There was a huge gap at the top, which frankly is just a dust collector. That's all I think of when I see that, is how dirty must it be up there. And it really didn't emphasize these tall ceilings. So we added this whole new kitchen with tall millwork, a very tall fireplace, and this drapery that goes floor to ceiling across that back wall, just to add warmth and texture and filter the beautiful light coming in through the back. The kitchen was challenging in some ways because it's very large, but also it's so tall. So how do you go all the way to the ceiling with your millwork to maximize that space, but also not make it seem really imposing and like just a giant wall of cabinetry? So Kamisi, Mariana, and I came up with this idea of creating like a stone frame around the uppers on the stove wall. So the frame breaks up the millwork from top to bottom, and then above that frame we created this slatted detail, which it's all touch latch, so it doesn't look like it's storage, but it actually is all storage all the way across the top. And to be able to access the storage, we included this amazing ladder. Who doesn't love a ladder in a kitchen? It tucks in nicely between the desk and the end of the kitchen and the coffee station area, but it can be moved all the way along, and then you can get to those cabinets on the top. The countertop and the hood and the stone frame are all made out of Dekton. Super durable and very easy to maintain, which everyone really likes, but has that beautiful look of natural marble. We have multiple different types of cabinetry in this kitchen. We've got slab wood, we've got slatted wood, and then we also have this white slim shaker. Again, because there's so much cabinetry, we wanted to mix up the finishes to make sure it didn't just seem like an oppressive amount of cabinetry. Sometimes I feel like when it's so many uppers and it's all the same, it just feels like, you know, your eye can't settle anywhere and it's very overwhelming. We use these awesome brass pulls that have a knurled detail and a curved corner, which I think are really soft and modern. And the faucet is brass also to tie in with the hardware, and it also has that knurling detail on the sides. And we did want to introduce hits of black in our favorite thing, which is the light fixture over the island. We really love this light. It's special and interesting and sculptural, and I think that hit of black on all of the brass and wood is really effective. At the end of the millwork, we introduced a little desk area with shelves above, and the idea being that our clients and their kids can do a little bit of homework there. It's a great landing spot. For the living space, we wanted to create a cozy family living room. There was a fireplace here originally, but it was very dark and it didn't really fit the vibe of the house at all. So we introduced this micro cement. So again, just like a layered texture in those soft, warm, neutral tones. We put the TV on the fireplace and then introduced this really long linear fireplace that sits really low to the ground. So we're kind of emphasizing the height of those awesome ceilings. We also introduced some of the countertop material from the kitchen on the other side to balance it. So that goes along the back on the bottom and then also down the side of those shelves. You've got a great opportunity to, again, emphasize the height of the room and also add some tchotchkes that warm up the space and make it feel more like a family home. We really wanted full height drapery, and I feel like the first time we saw the house, all of us were like, well, what you're missing is drapery that goes all the way and really brings your eye up. We introduced this like textured linen sheer, so it has this cool open weave, so it filters the light really beautifully and creates this additional soft layer, but isn't overwhelming and doesn't block the light at all. It just creates a subtle texture. We did want to bring in some color, so we introduced this bold blue sectional, which I think rounds that family room area and differentiates it as a separate space. And behind that, we introduced this really cool wood console that has this curved detail and kind of feels like a chunk of wood. And I like that because it's organic and it's a little bit natural and rough, which is another element we wanted to introduce, that everything isn't super perfect. The coffee table is similar to the texture on the fireplace, that same kind of micro cementy look. The goal in here was not bold pops of color, but more soft, subtle layering. And then the sofa is really the element that stands out in the whole space. Kimmy, Marianne, and I immediately were like, well, a banquette obviously goes here because it means that you can have the formal dining room in the front, but on a day-to-day basis, you guys can eat at the banquette, which is perfect for a young family. It fits nicely into that corner, and then we introduced a big round wood table. It seats up to 6 people. And if you're doing a big dinner party, you can have a formal adults table and also a kids table, which is great. In this case, the banquette's actually a freestanding furniture piece instead of being a built-in, which I think adds to making it feel a little bit more lighter and unfitted as opposed to it being more millwork, because we are so millwork heavy on the kitchen wall. The front has a huge dining room that's quite long and really can be extended into that front seating area. We wanted to create like a cozy nook in the very front of this house there in that bay window just to curl up with a book or work on a laptop, which I can see that the kids have been using that space a lot. For the dining table, we wanted to bring in more white oak and those nice natural warm tones. It's really that look of bare unfinished wood. That's kind of what we wanted throughout the space, to have this warm, natural, organic feel. So we went with wood on both the table and the chairs, and then introduced this cool sculptural light fixture. The original entry had like a small drywalled closet that was built on a diagonal, which we found very offensive. There's no cause for that. So immediately we knew we wanted to rip that out and replace it with millwork. We did a coat closet with an integrated bench and added this amazing flooring that's like a terrazzo and a solid tile that creates a checkerboard pattern. We thought it was a super fun way of adding some interest and playfulness while still feeling really sophisticated and soft. The house had beautiful white oak floors, but they had been stained with a bit of a yellowy tone. So we knew we wanted to refinish them and really try to go to a natural white oak throughout, and then bring in more of that material to increase the warm tones and make it feel more cozy. The clients are really happy. They moved back. They arrived, I think, a few days before they moved into the house, and just seeing it for the first time all together, they were super excited to be able to live in this awesome space that they've created for themselves and their family. And I think it was a really great welcome back to the city, especially for the kids to come back and have this amazing new house that they can call their own. What's interesting is in ways it feels very similar to the original idea of the house, but it's so much more elevated. So the elements that were always there the first time we saw it are still here now, but they're so much more beautiful and so much more emphasized with the work that we've done. It feels like a glow up instead of like a redo.